Shalom, queens and kings of the kingdom of God. I am Jean-Claude Dogo from Ministries, and I greet the church in your house. Today, we are going to deal with a very important topic, the prayer of decolonization. This prayer was made by King David. His person and his country was in danger. He wanted freedom. He made this prayer. I was shocked, brethren, when I read this. I said, what? Does this exist in the Bible? Yes. Why did David do this prayer? It gives the reason why in the first 5 verses of Psalm 109. But we're going to use all the chapter, but we're going to stop at the verse 20, where we're going to explain 14 points of prayers of what David did. Psalm 109, verse 1 to 5. David's, to the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hold not thy peace, O God, of my praise. For the mouth of the wicked and the mouth of the deceitful are opened against me. They have spoken against me with a lying tongue. They compassed me about also with words of hatred and fought against me without a cause. What David is saying here, he said that these superpowers, military powers, they use diplomacy, international diplomacy, to lie, to come with false rumors, to come with wicked and deceitful words against the nation, against the person of David. So when a people or a superpower wants to destroy a people, a country, they lie about the chief of that country and they lie about the country itself. And they do that through diplomacy. So David was pointing out the strategy of the diplomacy that they are using. And he said, verse 4, for my love, they are my adversaries, but I give myself unto prayer. This is the reason why David gave himself unto prayer. And verse 5, and they had rewarded me evil for good and hatred for my love. How many African countries love their former colonial master? We say former, but actually they are still the colonial masters. How many of the African countries still love their colonial masters, but the colonial masters hate them, pay them evil for good? Can you imagine how many African leaders have their accounts, bank accounts in the former colonial powers countries? Huge amount of account. If those monies should be invested in the country will be developed by now. The country will have ultra-modern hospital facilities, international schools, many things. But they love the former colonial powers, but the colonial power pay them with evil. This is what David said. This is the reason why he made that prayer. He came to God in prayer. We're not going to read all the 20 verses or all the chapter, but I took some 14 points that David underlined in the first 20 verses. He spoke about putting the superpowers under tutorship, so they will lose their sovereignty. If a superpower loses its sovereignty, you see that it cannot function as a superpower. Then their leader will be prosecuted in the ICC. Just imagine that a president or presidents in Africa pray that the superpower killing their population, stealing their wealth, will be prosecuted in ICC. And ICC, in fact, decides for their own credibility to prosecute all the leaders of the superpower who continue to kill in mass people in their former colonies. David prayed, the third prayer point, that the sentence, the decision, the condemnation will be written in advance. Before the trial starts, let God make the final decision, the condemnation written in advance. The fourth point of prayer is that if their plea, these leaders of the superpowers, when they plea, let the court not hear them, not give them a listening ear. The fifth point is that they may be brutally removed from power. Let a brutal end of their term occur. This is what they themselves are doing in the former colonies they are ruling. They stop the reign of democratically elected president brutally. So let that technique come to themselves. And then, point 6 of the prayer of David, he said that let the international community appoint a new leader in their countries to replace them. Not election, but appointing, because they lost their sovereignty. Seventh point, let them be sentenced with death sentence. This is what David prays for them. Death sentence for these people. And then, point number 8, let the international community, let God mandate the international community to freeze their account, their assets, the assets of the relatives and children of these leaders, as well as of their friends. This, happened everywhere in Africa, everywhere in Asia, where the international community wanted to remove someone. David says, point 8 of his prayer, let them be forced to go to exile after the bombing of their houses. So no house in the country because it will be bombed and then you'll be forced to go to exile. And then let them, point 10 of the prayer, let God organize that people will take from them their wealth. They can accuse them that they receive the goods like corrupt goods, so they can take all the good from them. They will be poor. The same way they are doing in Africa. They just wait. Somebody in Africa will open a big account in their bank, and then when their economy need money, they say that, oh, you, the African leader, you are corrupt, so we take your wealth, and it's for us. If you say that the guy is corrupt, you take his wealth, okay. Give back the wealth to the people, not to you, not to your economy. Anyway, David prayed that this will happen to you, to you. Point 11. David prayed that it should be a propaganda, a media campaign to censor, a censorship of media to make the name of these leaders ugly so that nobody will come near them. Will come near them. And then nobody will be encouraged to help their children, their wives, their children. And then David, in point 12, said, that there should be targeted sanctions like travel bans, loss of nationality, imprisonment to those people. And you know that the current superpower do the same. Point 13, David goes far to pray that there should be an amendment in the Constitution, targeted amendment in the Constitution, so that these leaders and their relatives will never think of running for presidency again in their life. You see, I'm holding here the Constitution of Denmark. You just call the parliament, or you write to them, you give your address, and they send it to you. Of course, if you live in Denmark. They send it to you free. And this constitution, they are not going to change like this as they do in Africa, where the dictator, when he doesn't like you, he changes the constitution. He said, okay, he doesn't want you to run for presidency, so he reduces the age of those who can be candidates. Or he doesn't like you. He puts something there so that he can block you. So David said the same thing. David said that they should block these people, superpowers, leaders that have been removed, and no one from their family can run for presidency there. And the last thing is that it doesn't curse the people of the superpowers, but it curses the wicked, evil leaders. So this prayer is not for the people of the superpowers, but is the leaders who are concerned by this prayer. May God hear you when you pray against these leaders for the decolonization of your country. Shalom.